just so cute. I love Joel.
I'm a big Joel fan. Canada loves you. Your house guests love you. Did a great job.
It's okay to be a little weird because we all have our weird quirks and stuff. And
Joel's the best. Joel, you're the winner, and I will shout loudest. Don't you worry.
Joel's a really smart guy.
Let's hear it, please, for Joel.
What's up, everybody? Big Brother Canada Week 3 is in the books for season number 6, which means it's time for another edition of Random Thoughts. I'm very excited today to bring in two very special guests to break down everything that has gone on in week number 3 with Jesse's eviction. And it's two people that I have gone on record as saying were probably the two biggest surprises from last season when I was assessing the cast of Big Brother Canada 5. First off, one half of the French Connection, the queen of the twerk, it is Dre. Dre, what's going on?
Hi. I like the queen of the twerk. That's funny.
Well, you've got some competition now, potentially. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the season, but it looks like Veronica's given you a run for your money. So I was talking to Andrew last week about how Andrew, the last person to be evicted.
No, I was
from
saying
Big
who was giving me a run for my money.
Veronica was doing some classic twerking. We'll get to that eventually. It's very important stuff. It's one of the most critical elements to how this week transpired. So don't worry, Dre. We're going to get all into it. But first off, let me introduce my other guest, the other half of the French Connection, the man probably most responsible for Kevin winning Big Brother Canada season number 5 last year, the reigning champion of the best kiss from last season of Big Brother Canada.
Yeah.
It is William Laprise Desbiens. William, comment ça va?
Ça va bien, ça va bien. No, just like, am I supposed to like this introduction? I don't really know, but okay.
Me too. It's like, okay, I'm not sure, but okay. Let's roll.
Congrats, Kev, again.
You know what? We can't do it again. We're live, so unfortunately, we're just going to roll with this and keep going along. This is Big Brother. Big Brother, you roll with the punches. You never know what twists are going to get thrown your way. You guys had no idea that was even coming, so we're just rolling with it. That's Big Brother Canada. They throw twists at you to screw us over, and that's just the way things roll. So let's...
I love it. Let's roll.
Let's roll. Let's start off with week number 3. First off, Jesse nominated. I want to start from the very beginning. Hamza winning HOH and Jesse getting nominated. From your perspective, Dre, did Jesse do anything wrong really to get nominated originally with Hamza as HOH?
That's a really good question. I felt like Jesse was very comfortable in his little alliance, and I felt like he wasn't mingling, I want to say, with everybody really. I think his downfall was maybe just feeling too comfortable with the people that he was with and not trying to play the game enough. Can I say that? Because I feel like he played the game a little early, like later in the week, but I think he should have played earlier, and I think he was just sitting pretty, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think he was somebody who, I don't think he did a lot of things wrong, but one thing that I think everybody did wrong, and I want to get your opinion on this, William, is why was it so easy for people to get rid of Andrew over somebody like Hamza, who everybody, to my knowledge, kind of knew was really unpredictable? Why would you want to keep somebody like that in the house?
I don't know. I was wondering literally the same, to be honest. I thought that it was like a better idea to evict like Hamza, but I didn't watch a lot of the feeds, so I'm like, what did he say in this house that people believe? Maybe he's really a good manipulative person, players. I guess he said things that I don't know, because I was so surprised. Like, Andrew, I feel he's just like someone who can be such a target, a big target that could, like, I don't know, like, you just keep that kind of house guest in your game in the house, because you know he's gonna do some blow ups and you're like, what the fuck you doing? Like, that's the kind of house guest you want to keep in the house to protect yourself. So not like people who's more like, I feel Hamza is like more, I don't know, he can think, not that whatever. But the line
Say
is
that one more
related to
time. You're a little more unclear than Will. I'm not sure who I can understand more right now. You or Will from Big Brother from the season right now.
You know what's funny is that William is saying that about Hamza, but I feel like that week was weird for me because I liked Andrew and Hamza. I like them both, but I
Yeah,
feel like
me too.
Hamza is such a wild card that I can understand why you would want to keep him, just because I can understand that you would want to keep someone like him that's gonna
Yeah, but
be
do
a
you think
target
it's more
in the
maybe?
house.
But do you think Hamza is more sneaky and more able to hide what he wants to do? Because I feel that Andrew was such like it reminds me of Dylan that if
Mhm.
he's not happy, he's gonna show him like he cannot really lie. Like I think he's really really honest. And you know when he was mad against Erica, like he was
Mhm.
like doing this look thing. So I
Mhm.
guess it for me it's like
Yeah.
easier to read Andrew that Hamza that being in the house, I guess, is so hard. Maybe that's why they don't know how to read Hamza, and they think maybe it's like better. It's like I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously Hamza clearly did something right. It was a unanimous vote, so I mean, like, kudos to him. From a fan standpoint, I definitely wanted Hamza to stay in there because he's somebody that you want when you're watching it at home, right? Somebody that's obviously
Oh
going to shake up the game. But if I'm in there, I don't want somebody who's going to be put me on edge and make me feel like I could potentially go up on the block. And I feel like a lot of people were saying that when Hamza was HOH was, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Maybe Marin, I think, was maybe the only one that was like, okay, I'm okay with this one. But everyone else had to kind of be cringing, and that was kind of Hamza's plan, was to put everybody on edge. So I don't know about that. But let's talk about Hamza's head of household reign, how he handled, first off, putting the initial nominations of Jesse and Olivia. Dre, from your perspective, is this a smart move for Hamza at this stage of the game?
Um, why not? I think so. Yes, I think Hamza wants to. You know what? I really think Hamza wants to be a good player, but I also think he really wants to make good TV, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think in Big Brother, sometimes we forget that there's like different levels that you play. You not only play with the people inside of the house for yourself, you also
I agree.
play for the fans that are watching, and there's a third dimension that I'm not going to mention right now, but you know there's a lot of different dimensions or levels that you play with or for, and not every player is able to mix or combine all of them, and not everyone is able to see that there's different levels as well. So I want to say that I think Hamza is really trying to play for the people. I think he's trying to
You
play for the people that are watching more than just for himself, if that makes sense.
But you mean that
So
you think that people wanted to see Olivia and Jesse on the block?
not that he wants to shake the house up. I think he doesn't want to go with what the house wants. He just wants to
Mhm.
do the opposite all the time, just so that it can be like, look what Hamza did this week, or when he was HOH, he did that, and I just think he really wants the like good TV part of Big Brother, I think, and the experience as well of just not following the mass.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, though. So,
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
what was your question,
no,
Joe?
yeah, you're pretty much bang on when it comes to that. I think it's pretty evident from the way he's been talking. You don't even have to watch the live feeds to know that Hamza, I mean, he's made no secret of it from the very beginning, even when he was talking in his opening bios that he wants to make some great TV. I honestly think that he's more interested in that than actually winning the game. William, do you think that his strategy of making so many promises like he did, like his reasoning initially for putting Jesse up was that he didn't want anybody else to make it seem like they were working together. But obviously Jesse was totally sketched out by that. Do you think the amount of promises that Hamza made is going to come back and bite him sometime soon?
Oh, for sure. Promises like always bite you, but I think you need to do it. Like, because if you don't, it's how you play the game. That's what I didn't do, but that's how you need to play the game. Do and no, I think maybe it's gonna bite him in the butt to do that, but I think it's the right way to do it. Because yeah, you need to do something. I don't know. I think it's a good thing that he did that.
I don't really remember, Joel. Do you know if it was really Hamza's nominations or if he had an influence? Because I was reading somewhere that, and I don't, as I said, watch the feeds, but I read all of the updates, and I was reading that it was more Will and Johnny pushing it.
Yeah, so
for
that's
Jesse to be on the blog, and that it wasn't Hamza's decision.
It was definitely, from what I saw, and we'll get to Will and Johnny, because there were some people that were much more active on the live feeds pushing to get Jesse out than to get Jesse nominated, in my opinion. But my sort of concern with Hamza, but I honestly don't really think he cares, is some of the promises that he was making, and I want to get your perspective on this, Dre. One of the big things that came up on the episode after Jesse is initially nominated is Hamza is promising to Derek, is promising to Jesse that don't worry about it, this is all going to plan. One of his big things was he's saying trust the process. He said that probably about a dozen times, like just trust the process, everything is fine. Why did Hamza feel the need to have to tell Jesse you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, when obviously he wasn't?
First of all, let me just say, trust the process. I think it was a phrase by one of those NBA players. I think his name is Frank, something, one of the newbies in the NBA.
Okay.
So just so you guys know, it's not Hamza's phrase. But anyways, that's beside the point.
Was he quoting him, though, or was he just like saying that because he wanted to make them feel comfortable?
Trust. Yeah. I think it's hard with Hamza. I really think it's hard to know if it's really him wanting to do that, if he really was believing in what he was saying. Because sometimes, you say something and then at first you're lying and then you start believing your own lie. And I think that's very dangerous in a game like Big Brother, where you start by promising something that maybe you truly believe, like maybe he truly believed that they were going to be safe. And then as the days go by, as you get into other conversations, you change your mindset or whatever, and then you start being like, okay, well, when I said that, at the moment that I said that, I was serious and my intent was good and blah blah, but things change.
Yeah,
so,
I
don't know.
I love the fact that he's doing it. I think it shows, from my perspective, a lack of game experience. The fact that he's kind of, in my opinion, it's a dangerous thing when you kind of box yourself in and tell so many people, like, you're good, don't worry, and stuff. Then you're kind of setting other people up for a blindside. But I just want to go over some of the promises that he made. First off, he told Jesse repeatedly that he's fine, don't worry about it, everything's going according to plan. Well, I don't think that was in Jesse's plan to go home. He said that if they're going to be really close in the veto, when they competed for the power of veto, that Hamza would let Jesse win it. Jesse, to my knowledge, was in second place, so he broke that promise. He also said, and this was kind of the big one, was Derek was campaigning really hard for Jesse to stay throughout the week, and Derek said, okay, well, if you win the veto, you're going to take Jesse down. Do you promise you're going to take Jesse down? He says, yep, I promise. And then Derek says, well, you know what? I don't want to ask you to promise on Carolyn, your fiance, but do you promise on her? And he says, I promise. William, what's your take on all the amount of guarantees? Is Hamza kind of responsible for making too many mistakes?
I don't know. I don't know what to answer to that. But
okay, well, I'll make it a little simpler here. One of the big things that transpired after Hamza decided not to use the veto was Jesse calling him out and saying, like, hey, we swore on some deep personal levels. We saw Will and Hamza clearly really agitated, saying you don't need to bring the personal stuff in. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. Who do you think is more responsible for that whole fiasco? Is it Jesse just losing his cool and going on a personal level when it's not necessary? Or do you think Hamza kind of did it to himself by making the promise in the first place?
Maybe a mix of both. Oh my god, this is great. I don't know. Maybe the mix of both. At the same time, like I say, I didn't watch a lot of fees this week.
Right.
So I hate to base my what I said on the edited show because we don't see anything. But it's always like I in this house in this game a mix of many things. I don't think it's only because of Jesse. I don't think it's only because of Hamza. I think it's like a little bit like you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What do you think about Jesse's move? Obviously, it was a very calculated thing after he found out the veto wasn't going to be used to call out Hamza in front of the whole house. We've seen people like Godfrey do that very effectively on his season in Big Brother Canada 3. Do you think that this was the right move to do it in front of every single person at the veto meeting? Do you think that was the best strategic move for Jesse?
I think it's like the worst thing to do, to be honest. Like every time people have done that, it's never working. It's just like I don't know. I think people think that because they're gonna do that, people is gonna say, okay, we're gonna keep him because he's like I don't know because he's gonna go after him, but it never works. People are just like I don't know if it scares people. It doesn't scare. I don't think it scares people because he's not targeting them. But every time it's like you had time to campaign after that. Don't play like that. I don't know. I don't think I think it was like really a bad idea. I don't know. Has he done that for TV? Sometimes people do things for TV, like Dre said.
Mm-hmm.
Did he think it was like a great thing to do to make people think that he was going after that against Anza? I don't know, but I think it was not the best thing to do, like to call people like that. It's never working ever.
Okay, well, I'll ask Dre then. Dre, if William is talking about how it's not the best move to, like Jesse did, to call Hamza out and maybe make himself a big target and sort of openly declare war, what was the best move for Jesse to stay this week, in your opinion?
That's a really good question. I think to stay, and I think that's for almost everyone, I do believe you have to be everywhere. And as I said in the beginning, I feel like Jesse wasn't everywhere. I feel like he was very comfortable, and then he just got, woken up and he was like, oh shit, okay, I'm on the block. Oh my goodness, okay, I might be leaving. I think that he didn't even think that through because I feel like to him, he was in a great position. So I do think that for him, maybe he should have been everywhere in the sense that he should have talked to every single person in that house and let them know why it's better to keep him. Or as soon as he was on the block, he should have already started
campaign.
Exactly.
And manipulate people. Don't call out. That's the thing, because I think if you call out someone, even if it's not about you, after that, how I would see it is like, oh, if I do something like that, will he do the same to me? If he can be like so like angry and I don't know, like would he be able to do the same to me if I do something? You know what I mean? So it's kind of scary for even people of your alliance or not, depend whatever. So
I think we have a different opinion on that though, because I feel like depending on when you do the call out, it can be working for you. I just don't think during the veto ceremony is the best.
No.
It's already been played out, but I do think calling out people, depending on where, I do think it can work. Calling out people might show that you're not afraid.
Maybe before eviction when you have nothing to lose, but like after like we know we have 2-3 big days of campaign, and there's nothing to do besides campaign. So you have a lot of time to talk there, try things, and we've seen people who did that beside of calling out people who campaign and work hard and manipulate people. It often really works. So I think, and there's many players come in my mind when I think about that, and it's always working. So more than doing this after.
So William, I'll ask you then, William. Do you think that it could have been a more effective thing to make himself a big target, but maybe not do it in front of the house, but just talk to everyone else and saying like, yo, Hamza's my number one. Hamza, I'm going after Hamza, nobody else. And that way it kind of like creates a war between the two that can keep everyone else safe. Is that a more effective campaign strategy that could have worked for Jesse?
I think maybe he should have said like, oh, something like I'm so pissed at him, like he's doing this. Not necessarily at the beginning saying like I'm gonna go after him. Cause me, someone who said that, like I'm like, "Ugh," like we've seen that in Big Brother US season 2,
Sure.
shitty things like that. You don't really believe that, but you need to put him like he's so shitty, no. And after that, you say, I want to go after him. I want to, not in front of the whole house. I think it's like, blah, 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 it won't work. Like, I think when I see that, I'm just, okay, the person is just like so scared. So I don't know what to do. I'm going to do a blow up. I'm going to point the person because and for me, I feel like the person is just so lost and just so scared because, he's in trouble. But so when you do that, I'm like, it's like the last chance. You do this because you have nothing else to do. So I think that's why I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, you make some interesting points, and I kind of agree with you to a certain extent, William, because I think you're right in the sense that if somebody is going to blow up somebody else's game in front of everyone, that's a scary thing. But I want to kind of go back in time because one person who did that on your guys' season, I just want to touch on this briefly, but one person who did that on your guys' season who made it really, really far in the game who when I was watching from an outsider's perspective, was like, why are they going after this person? And Ica was blowing everybody up, it seemed like, and was really outwardly. So what's the difference between how Jesse was doing it and obviously not doing a very good job because he's evicted, and how Ica was doing it, but Ica was able to keep enough friends on her side for the most part throughout the game?
But I don't think she was doing when she was doing the blow up, her work was already done before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
She was like, when I don't know the thing she said, like the jury thing. She did her work already. She already knows she was like she was not necessarily. I don't know. I feel she did her work before doing her blow up. She was. I don't think she would have done a blow up before thinking. Maybe I don't know. I think she calculated more than Jesse. Was just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna like just call him out. I think she was thinking more what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but I'll ask Dre this. Dre, did it when Ica was calling some people out? Did that put you maybe a little bit on edge and have your antennas up a little bit and be like, whoa, we need to like watch out? Did you feel threatened by Ica when she was doing her blow-ups?
No.
Why not?
I wasn't feeling threatened when she was doing her blowouts because, well, depending on which ones, because mostly I was on her side in the beginning, the first few weeks there. So I wasn't really surprised, and also I did want to my thing was I was telling people, I want to turn up, I want it to be lit, I want to blow everybody's game, but at the same time I knew that I wasn't going to do it, so I was saying it so that the people that were hearing it could do it for me, if that makes sense. So I was okay with most of the blow-ups. I mean,
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I was curious because I wasn't actually in the house. I was just watching it from an outsider's perspective, and from an outsider's, I was like, I was put on edge a little bit by how much she was calling people out. But there's a lot of other things that you don't see, and I didn't watch a lot of the live feeds, so that's a different story. One of the people I want to talk about who was campaigning, I think, a little too hard for his buddy Jesse is Derek. William, why do you think that? Do you think it was necessary for Derek to push as hard as he did to get Hamza to swear on his girlfriend? Why do you think Derek was trying so hard when he's got a showman's partner who kind of has his back?
Well, I think like we've seen that he didn't watch a lot of season. If he did watch some season, I don't even know. So I think he just don't really know what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So maybe he was just like trying to protect his friend Jesse instead of protecting his game. I think he was just more seeing like the friendship thing than the because after that we saw Kayla saying like you need to think about your game and I'm thinking about my game and your game and that's it. And I think so that's why I think he just like didn't have enough experience in the game and he only wanted to protect is friends, but at the end of the day, it was not a good thing for him. But
We'll talk about his showman's partner, Kayla. How do you see the way that she played that? She seemed to play it more like, oh, you know, Jesse's an alliance member of mine, but he's somebody who is not my number one, and maybe I can sort of cut my losses here. Do you think it was a smart move for Kayla to kind of hang back and let Jesse go out because it was maybe sort of better him than me?
if it was good for her to say, okay, Jesse, I won't help him too much. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's only week 3, so like you don't need to try like you have your number 1, you try for your number 1, that's fine. But don't try for your number 2, number 3, number 5, don't try too much.
But Kevin,
people's gonna see that.
So I'm curious that you brought that up, William, because sorry, William, correct me if I'm wrong. Dre throughout the game was your number 1 in your season, yes or no?
Dre was my number 1, yeah.
And Kevin was your number 2? Or who was?
That's the thing.
Because you used the veto, you used that secret veto, which I think was a good move, but since you brought that up,
not the best thing ever, maybe.
I think it was, but I'm curious because you brought up like you don't fight for your number 2, but you fight for your number 1, but you used a veto on maybe a number 2 or a number 3. That's why I'm asking. I still think it was a good move that you pulled in season 5.
The thing is that me, I was maybe dumb. I never thought of using both of the vetoes. Okay, that was dumb. But we couldn't trust Bruno. So I was like, hell no, that Bruno's gonna stay in the house. Like he won't be shy to put me next to Dre on the block. I was like, Kevin. Maybe a lot of people think that Kevin would have not cared to put my stuff on the block. I don't think he would have put my stuff on the block.
Would you have used it if the veto wasn't secret that nobody else would have known about it? Would you still have gone up and like in season 2 when Allison had the secret veto, would you have placed it on Kevin's neck in front of everyone, or would you have just like not even bothered?
I really don't know. I never asked myself this question, but the icon was scaring me a lot. So maybe she would have given herself like big eyes, and I would have been like, no. But I don't know. I see shit right now, but I really don't know what I would have done. But yeah.
Hindsight's 20/20. You never know. It's just obviously, I'm sure you're asked that a million times about using the veto on Kevin. Why'd you use it and stuff? I was just curious about that. One of the people who I'm not sure, I think they're still well positioned in the game, but somebody who I think is playing really well, and I want to get your opinion on this, Dre. Does losing Jesse hurt Paris's game moving forward?
Not at all. I think Paris was kind of like, I heard this word before, it's called dickmatized. So, you know, the girl Paris.
What is that? What is that word?
Yeah, please. No, go back. What is that word? I want to know too. Help us out here, Dre.
No, I know this word.
Okay. Is it appropriate for a family show? Not that this is a family show.
Is this a family show?
No, it's not. Whatever. You can. No. No, that's fine.
We're gonna see the booty.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So I think that she was, as I said, and I'm happy that the girl is kind of back on track. And so I do believe Jesse leaving was good for her game, because as much as she wanted to be like, no, I'm super strategic and I'm gonna make moves like this and like that, I think she went in the house and she was like, oh dang, okay, I can have like actual feelings for someone. And I'm not even just talking about Jesse, I'm talking like relationships, you know?
Yeah.
I think you go in the house and you're like, oh, okay, I kind of like them in a personal level. I kind of don't want to hurt their feelings and stuff like that. And when you start getting emotional, you can't be all of that strategic kind of person that you wanted to be. But you know, William, a lot of people want to claim that they're only strategic when they're emotional. So
yeah. William, how do you think it is that what has Paris done to be so well connected that she can lose somebody like Jesse, who's a gigantic target who had her back, and still be so well positioned with everybody in the house?
Well, I don't know if she was that much seen of because I've read some things that she was not in the house. Was she really seen with Jesse that much in the house?
She was more so seen on the edited show, but she's also got a lot of things. Not only do a lot of people seem to really trust her, like, implicitly, but she was also voted, I think, most easy to manipulate, dumbest person at all. Like, I can't think of too many things that, even when there's twists like that Paris can't control, it seems to go her way. How is she able to just have everything come her way?
She really comes out as an innocent person, you know. She really comes out, I feel, as like a genuine, honest person that doesn't lie, that's trusting and all of that. So I think that it works for her because people just see her as this non-threat player. You know, I think they just see her as like a friend that you would be talking to. So,
and I gotta say, when I watched her bio first, before like the interviews, I thought she was like this kind of naive person and really able to be manipulative.
Yep.
Whatever. So yeah. So I guess we were like, many people think that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was surprised. I thought eventually people were going to be able to all talk to each other and catch on to Paris, but I'm kind of, I don't really think that she's on anybody's radar for a long time, and she's doing it, I think, in a very subtle way, getting people on her side, which is really fascinating to watch. Go ahead, Dre.
Can I add something, Joel?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I think the fact that she's emotional is working to her advantage as well, because people see her as being emotional, you know? So I think that she's not this like only logical, strategic kind of person that's just gonna be like, you know, A plus B equals whatever. She's more like A plus B equals this, but like, oh my goodness, just I don't want to be on the block. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she's like a mix of illogical but also emotional, whereas certain players don't have that. Like I think Maddie, on the other side, I thought that she was gonna be the super fan that was gonna, you know, just rock through everything. And I feel like,
but she's on the block
Paris
though.
Is very, yeah, she's on the block, but I feel like although Paris is very emotional and strategic, it works for her compared to Maddie, that's very, I find, logical and wants to, you know, she gets the point across in a logical sense in her logic, but she doesn't have the emotional appeal that Paris has, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Let's get into that, since you guys were mentioning Maddie, and Maddie's obviously a little bit more prominent now, so spoiler alert to everyone, we are going to talk about stuff right now that has not been shown on the edited TV show, so if you guys want to step away from that, feel free to, but there's a lot of good juicy stuff going on the live feeds. Yes. So let's talk about the live feeds right now then. Erica is the HOH. Erica puts up Marin and Maddie. Maddie is somebody who's been able to really lay low and kind of be invisible, which is not a bad strategy at this early stage of the game. What do you think, William, about Maddie and Marin being put up on the block?
I gotta say, I was surprised. I don't know if I didn't know what Erica would have done. I feel that, I don't know, I was like, that was my reaction. I didn't know. I think I was just like not lost, but like I didn't really know Erica was with whom really, and at the same time she was like, you know, there's like this thing of, I don't know if it's still even like up to date, but like the red room against the white room.
Yeah.
And she nominated 2 people from the other room. So maybe that's the thing, that she's not with these people. But I was really surprised to see Maddie, because she was laying really low. Like when I saw her on the block, I was like, oh my god. So I don't really understand why.
Erica, now I want to get your opinion, since you're somebody, you won what, 1 HOH and how many vetoes in your season, William?
2.
2 vetoes and 1 HOH, and so Erica's got 2 vetoes under her belt now, and she's got a head of household as well. Is she setting herself up as too much of a comp threat? And as somebody who won a lot of competitions, how do you try to like not make the target so big on you when you've been winning a few times?
You need to be naive.
Okay.
No, but I did won my comps a little bit later than her. She's winning all our comps in the first 3 weeks, and she looks like this beast. I think she's. I don't know. I love her a lot, but I think she's doing. When I see someone being HOH and winning POV on week 3, I'm like, what? You're already HOH. You're gonna put someone else. There's like still I don't what 13 people in the house. Like there's another person you wanna evict. I don't know. So why you need to really try to win veto? That's my point of view. You already won HOH. Don't try to put. But who knows? Like it reminds me of Johnny who won the first 2 comps, and I was like, what the hell you're doing? And now it's like so under the radar. I feel so.
Yeah,
But
no,
Johnny did a good job of going back under the radar.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
Exactly.
Erica, I think with Erica, and I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but I think that she's just trying to have the most win. I think she has something to prove. I don't know if it's to herself or to the fans or to whoever she's representing. But I do think that she's there to not only play and be a player where you're like strategic and you're like, okay, I don't want to win this because technically she didn't have to win the HOH. She was in a very good position, but she still went and won the HOH. And then she didn't have to win the veto and she still went and did that. So I think that she wants to have this kind of like title of having the most comps or like having. I think she just wants to be seen as a beast, regardless of the like playing part of Big Brother, if that makes sense.
Somebody who has wanted and has openly said in the diary room that she wants to be seen as a beast, and somebody who's such a big competitor was Veronica. Veronica now is being seriously considered as a backdoor target. William, what do you make of Veronica's game so far and her wanting to be the person that is sort of like out in front for every competition? Is this a smart move for her?
To
be out in front. Her strategy is like when she was competing in the HOH with Hamza, she said specifically in the diary room that I want to show people that I am a competitor, that I am here to win, that I am a beast, and I do not want to embarrass myself in these competitions. I want everybody to see me as this power competitor. Why?
I don't. To be honest, I don't know. That is not the girl. What the hell you doing? Sometimes you feel like I kind of understand. Like if you see that okay, people is gonna say that my social game is not good. This is not good. This is not good. You want to show that okay, I'm here for a reason. Like you need to, even if it's only week 3, you need to start to build your. I remember I think it was Cassandra that was telling me that she was like, Will, you need to build your resume for finale. She was saying that to me, and I was like, that's kind of true. If I to play 6 and I have like, so maybe she's like, I need to prove that with the comps. I don't know, but I don't think she needs to do that much because I think she would be like a good player to be in final 2 against her and like be easy to win against her. I think
but it's
like,
only
it's only week 3, but I already feel that she would be that kind of character, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree she could potentially be that. I'm just wondering, it's week 3. They know that at least there's going to be, if you go the distance for the game, there's going to be at least another there's going to be at least another 5-6 weeks to go.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to start building your resume at this point? Can't you win a few comps down the stretch and make an argument when, if you get to like final 7, 6s or jury stage and start winning? Why does she need to win right now?
I don't know. I don't know. I think
she doesn't need to win right now, but at the same time, everybody can build their resume how they want, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's okay if you want to win early or if you want to win later. I just think that you need to adapt as best as you can afterwards. Just like Johnny won earlier, but then he's laying low and he's still making moves.
I think he's playing well right now.
Yeah.
Before we get to Johnny, I need to ask Dre something. Since we're on the topic of Veronica, I cannot go through this podcast without asking Dre this question. Veronica's birthday. Veronica is up on the wall, hanging, doing her twerk thing. How did you feel about Veronica's twerk? How impressed were you the fact that she could jump up on a wall outside and do a twerk like that?
I'm going to be really honest with you. I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
I haven't seen it. But if the girl can twerk, that's good for her. One thing
Can
I'm
you-
gonna tell you though is that she can't rap. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
Absolutely, I would agree with you on that. Can you, Dre, yourself, could you, if you wanted to, jump up on a wall and hang and do a twerk while hanging on a wall? Can you do that? Is that in
Do
your
you think that
arsenal?
wait. Do you think that you can do it, Joel?
I cannot do that, and I 100% own it. I am like, I think Shari and Levita tried to teach me twerking for about 5 minutes or so during Levita's HOH week 1, and then they were just like, yeah, I give up on you. Just like, whatever. Be a dork and try to open this champagne bottle that's taken you like 20 minutes to open. So they kind of just like gave up on me on that. So you can or you can't do that. Have you ever attempted
That's
such a
really
thing?
good question. we might see when we get together. I might show you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. A twerk off between Veronica and Dre. Looking forward to it. But one of the other people, I want to rewind a little bit. William, how do you think Olivia handled being on the block? Jesse seemed like the more desperate one that was sort of declaring war on Hamza, and Olivia seemed to be the one to hang back and to very subtly campaign but not be too aggressive. Was that a smart move for her
I think so.
in the short term, but also in the long term? Do you think that positions her really well?
Well, I think it was a good thing to lay low when she sees someone like that. Like, you need to lay low, but still campaign. Like, you don't go eat your slap by yourself, so you need to still campaign. The only thing is that people. What is the bad thing is, like, if people start to see her as a pawn, that would be like not really good for our game, because like the pawn thing normally is not a winning thing to see if you have been the pawn all season. I don't know. So but I think she did a great job. I thought at the beginning of the week, I thought she would be the one like being going home, and finally Jesse. I think Jesse did a little mistake, in fact. So what we were talking about a little bit earlier, I think he was a little bit doing some mistakes. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with you on that. What do you think about, I want to get your opinion on the other gatecrasher, the one who's up on the block right now, Marin, who seems to be really chill. He doesn't seem to be in tight with anybody really in the game thus far, maybe a little bit with Hamza, but how do you think Marin in particular has been able to stay off on the block when he was probably on a lot of people's radars when he just walked in unexpectedly and was one of the latecomers to the game? How has he been able to stay off of people's radars until now?
Well, I don't know. I honestly think with the two gatecrasher, I thought that Veronica
Yep.
would have been on the block really, really sooner than she has never been like nominated. I think it was just like able to be less than her, and just like people were more noticing her than him, and it was just like just chill, cool, doing his thing and not too much. And yeah.
Johnny is somebody who we haven't seen too much of him, at least on the edited show, over the last little while, which I think is a good thing for Johnny, given the fact that he took HOH. Dre, from your perspective, how has Johnny been able to position himself fairly well in the game after being the first HOH, which a lot of people have always said time and again is sort of the biggest detriment?
I think Johnny did an amazing job of being a beast in the beginning and just kind of like diving back into a little, I want to say, shell kind of. And also I think his social game is very, very good as well. I do think he's kind of like in the middle right now. He doesn't have to pick a side yet. And I think that's working for him. And he's definitely appealing not only emotionally, but also like strategically with the other players. So I think that I can't tell you really how he did it. It's just he did it. So that's
and
really
I think
good
a lot
for
of
him.
people talk to him, so he's like, I think
I think Johnny, that's what I was hearing, that he gets a lot of people to give him information and he doesn't really divulge any information. So I think that's really, really good for him.
Yeah, and I like the way that he's doing it because he's doing it as if like he's doing it in a way that makes it seem like he's looking out for them. Like especially during Erica's HOH, he's talking about, well, you know, I think maybe this would be a smart move for you, and I think you would benefit best for this. You would do this. But someone who also did that during his HOH, but I think did a really poor job of it, was Ryan. How has Johnny been able to plant these seeds to say like, hey, watch out for this, I'm looking out for you? But Ryan is kind of like he's kind of become everybody's enemy because of his HOH and how aggressive he was.
I just want to put this out there. I think Ryan's actually going to go far. I'm just saying. I have a feeling that he's going to go far.
I think he's going to go far too, but do you think he's going to go far based on anything that he's done, or do you think just the way the numbers have shaken down? Because I feel like he's going to go far simply because he's not really any sort of a threat to anybody. I think he has a small chance to win the game, but I don't think he's going to go far simply because of great gameplay that he's done.
Yeah, and that's sad because, you know, as a player, you would want to be recognized for whatever gameplay you did, and you want to get to the end and be like, yeah, I got to the end because of what I did and not necessarily because you got, you know, like pushed or carried.
Sure.
So I think that might be sad for him, especially because he's a super fan. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. If he goes far, he goes far, you know? But I also think that with Ryan, the approach is definitely different compared to Johnny. I think Ryan's approach is as you said, Joel, it's very more aggressive, and I kind of think that he's annoying a little bit, whereas Johnny is just like everybody's friend, and he's logical, but he's also emotional a little bit, and he shows that he supposedly cares for you and all that. So Johnny has this kind of like business approach
I
to
think
sell something that Ryan doesn't have.
But what I was feeling from Ryan is that I felt that he wanted to be this. He wanted to be this player. He wanted to do like a move so like calculate. I did that, and after that I did that. But like you see it, and you're like, honey boo, what the hell are you doing? That is like no sense. And like he came back in his HOH, and he's so proud, and people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, Ryan thinks
like, he tried to be like Neda from season 2, like she was, but.
Yeah,
I think Ryan said that he wanted to be evil. No,
he did. Yeah, he said
guy, whatever.
Yeah, and I think that was a mistake that he had from the get-go. Is that I know we have to like say certain things and kind of build up our characters when we're gonna get picked for the show. We all kind of know that, I guess, to a certain extent. But I think if you're setting yourself up as like, well, I'm gonna be the greatest person and I'm gonna be this, just go in there and then roll with the punches and play the game. What's wrong with that? Why do you have to put all this pressure on yourself, which I think he did from the get-go, and be like, I need to be the greatest diabolical super genius that there is. Why not just like play to your strengths and then roll with it and see what happens? What's wrong with that?
You know what, Joel? I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I remember at the auditions for Big Brother BB Can 6, well, these ones, when I was in Montreal, and I was like, the only advice maybe that I can give people is you need to know yourself.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, and we've seen it in the cast, I feel like people are coming in with this preconceived idea of what they are going to be like, and they already have their characters, and they know who they want to seem like or be perceived as. And I always feel like the players that know themselves are the ones that go the furthest, in the sense that you don't come in being like, I want to be the bad guy or I want to be the good guy. You come in being like, I am good physically, and this is my strength, or I am good socially, so this is my strength. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like if you know yourself and you value yourself and you know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and you present yourself with that, I always think that those kind of players do better than the ones that are just trying to be like, you know, I'm going to be good TV, and it's like, okay, you're a flop, go back home.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other people who I think has a really good chance of going deep in the game, and I want to get your opinion on this, William. Obviously, a lot of people who are up on the block and survive eviction week 1 from Big Brother Canada history tend to go really, really deep in the game. I think there's a strong potential for that to happen again this year. Emmett, season 1, made it all the way to Final 3 after being up. Season number 3, Peely made it all the way to Final 5. Kelsey made it all the way my season. She was up in the very first week. And Demetrius last season as well. Do you think Alejandra has the potential, after surviving a unanimous vote in week number 1, can go really deep in the game and potentially win the game?
Well, maybe she's like, we don't see her at all. So maybe she's either way really good to hide herself, or she just lost somewhere in a place. I don't know. But I think I don't know. But I feel she's, it's hard to say, because like we don't see her on TV.
Right.
But I think it's a good thing, because I think it's like maybe like one of the players that we don't see at all on the edited show. So maybe it's a good thing for her. I think, in fact, it's a good thing for her. And yeah, so maybe she's going to go far. And I think she's really, really intelligent. So I think she's going to do... She's just waiting. She's just waiting. She knows she needs to wait. She was afraid. Sometimes maybe it's the thing. When you're on the block, on the eviction, the first eviction, you're so scared to be the first one to go. And you're like, bitch, this won't happen anymore, and you're just doing anything to stay. And you I don't know, maybe I think she's really intelligent, and I think she's gonna go far.
Yeah, I agree. I really think I'm really high on Alejandra, not only because she mentioned me and said that I was really cute on the show. That's just another personal thing that I think is really nice of her. So good for her. She's got good taste. So that's fantastic. I'm a little partial to Alejandra right now. We'll see how long that lasts, because a little partial to her right now. But at the same time, Emily said that I was cute on your guys' season 2, and then Dylan came in. So you never know. Things have a weird way of working out. Dre, I want to get your perspective from Erica's HOH thus far. She holds the veto. We don't know if she's going to use it. She's getting pushed really hard, I think, by just about everybody except for Johnny to use the veto and to backdoor Veronica and get Veronica out of the house. Do you think that's the right move for Erica's game?
It's such a hard question, because I already don't think winning HOH was the right move for her. However, I think that she might be feeling the pressure right now from the house. And I also don't know. I don't think her relationship with Veronica is the best relationship right now. So I don't think it would hurt her game if she puts Veronica on the block and Veronica leaves. But at the same time, Veronica is one of those players that is always going to be a target, because she has that mouth, right? She talks a lot. So I feel like she can get on people's nerves, and she can get annoying, and I think that's good. You want to be behind a player like that. So we'll see.
William, your thoughts? If the nominations stay as they are right now, and Marin is up against if Marin is up against Maddie, who is the smarter one to go home in that situation?
Well, from our point of view, like outside the house, I think it's a better thing for their game if Maddie goes, because I think she's more. I think she really knows this game. She knows what is happening in this house, and I feel like Marin is just having fun. That's maybe just what I see.
Yep.
But so I think it would be the right thing to do to evict Maddie. Do I want to see that? No, I want to see Maddie in this house. I love Maddie, but I think it would be a better move to evict Maddie if I was them.
Dre, double eviction is coming up on Thursday. Who really needs to win that HOH or that veto? Because I was kind of looking at the way the house is broken apart, and I think it's really interesting this season because there's not as many huge, distinct pairs that we're seeing like we've seen on your guys' season. We had French Connection, we had Jamaica, we had Dylan and Emily as well. There's usually like so many clearly defined pairs that is sort of common knowledge in the house, but we haven't really seen that this year, which is fascinating to watch. But who do you think? Dayla's the only one, but who else can you say like is really like, oh, watch out for these two or these two? You know what I mean?
I think Ali and and Liv are really close. I
Yep.
think Kayla and Derek are close. Hamza and Marin, aren't they like best friends?
Hamza and Marin are close, but I mean, from our perspective, what I've been watching anyways is that it doesn't seem like it's quite as common knowledge to everybody else in there. So either some of those people in there are doing a good job of like branching off and not spending too much time with one person, or everyone else is just doing a good job of making every single person feel comfortable. But Dre, from your perspective, with the double eviction coming up, who needs to really watch out, and who needs to win that double eviction, given that there's not really so many set pairs right now in the house? Who really needs to win?
It's so hard. Your questions are so hard. You know why? Because I feel like the game hasn't played out yet. The game for the week, I mean, hasn't played out yet, and I still don't know if Erica is backdooring Veronica for real or not. Like I want to know who are the final nominations before knowing who needs to watch out for what. But at this point, I've heard Kayla and Derek's name a little bit, so I feel like maybe Derek should try to win that. If not, I'm gonna say if Marin stays in, I think he should win the HOH for double eviction.
Who?
Marin, the gate crasher.
Yeah.
What do you think, William?
If he stays?
William, what do you think? Who's the most in trouble in a double eviction scenario?
I think it would be either way, Kayla and Derek. I think like they are, from my point of view, they are like the duo that people like. We need to break them up. So I think they should, maybe them or Erica. I think like winning HOH, like all this win.
Yeah, true.
She did
Erica.
a lot, and you cannot say like, oh, she was lucky. You see, she looks like a strong woman. She looks like, I don't know. I would be scared of her. I would want to attack her, or maybe Hamza.
Maybe Hamza. How is?
Yeah.
I can't believe that Hamza is not really on anybody's radar as like a potential backdoor, just because, like I've said many times, he's so kind of all over the place. If I'm a fan, of course, I want that kind of erratic gameplay, because it's really fascinating to watch somebody who just doesn't care. But man, I obviously it's working for him right now. But do you think that gameplay can be a winning strategy, Dre?
I do think that it can be a winning strategy. And you know what? I think Hamza in the beginning was struggling, and he was struggling with adapting with all of the fakery in the Big Brother house, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't think everyone is able to come in and just adapt as easily. And I think Hamza's going to have a great character development or player development. I think we're going to see an evolution from the beginning to the end. And him being all over the place, listen, I like messy players, so I am here for Hamza all the way.
It's going to be extremely fascinating to watch. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the double eviction, because there's a lot of players that I think are playing really well. There's some that are being really erratic, but there's a lot of people who I think are like, well, this person seems like they're in a good spot. So does this one, so does this one, so does this one. And it's very rare that I've watched Big Brother US or Big Brother Canada where there's been so many people that I'm like, well, a lot of them seem kind of well connected, where if somebody wins HOH, they'll probably be okay. And that's what is going to make it really interesting to watch for in the double eviction coming up. But that is going to put an end to this edition of Random Thoughts. I want to thank Dre and William so much for joining me. William, for people... Anytime. William, first off, for anybody who wants to find out what is going on in the life of William Laprise Desbiens, how can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter. It's William Laprise, LAPRISED. And on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, it's all this name, William Laprise D, and you can see and follow me and see all my life out there.
Dre, people who want to follow...
Drinking wine. That's the only thing I do. Drinking wine.
Drinking wine. It's a
Being
fun...
drunk. Yeah.
That's a hell of a hobby. I wish I could afford to do that, honestly. Dre, for people who want to follow the twerk to see what's going on in the life of Dre, how can they do so?
I don't twerk as much in my day-to-day life.
What? Breaking news!
I know. Listen, I actually shake my brain for a living. But
you shake it well.
I shake it
well, girl.
Can you jump on a wall and shake your brain and do a brain twerk?
That's not how it works.
That's the best answer, William. William always has my back. J'ai dit, t'as toujours mon bac, j'adore. Okay,
oh my
so
God, come on, girl.
We're so bad.
Dre, how can people follow you?
You can. I don't remember what my handles are. I think on Twitter it's Dre Gwinayan, and on Instagram it's Dre.Gwinayan. But if ever you can't find me, it's not a big deal, you know. It's not a big deal. Just go on about your day.
Whatever. There's other things in your life besides figuring out what's going on with us. Like, really, people.
Exactly.
Come on.
Have fun.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for everybody for tuning into this edition of Random Thoughts. Next time, I am lucky enough to have Jesse Larson on the show, so I'm really excited to talk to him about his eviction and all of the things that went down. Woo! Dropping it like it's hot. Jesse Larson is going to be my next guest on the show, so look forward to talking Big Brother Canada with Jesse. Thanks again to The French Connection for being my guests, and thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys again soon. Toodles!